Hello and welcome to The Lazy Actor, the show that goes through the great acting books in history so you don't have to, because you're lazy. You're a lazy actor, and that's why we love you. We also take all the key learnings and try and apply them to the day-to-day life of myself, your host, Ivan, who is a struggling working actor, and the occasional knowledge bombs from our producer from Radio Studios, the mighty Tim. Tim, how are you today?
I'm great, thanks, Ivan.
Well, Tim, in the first episode, we really talked about like the logistics of being an actor, and I try to throw in some stories from my day-to-day experiences. What we're going to do today is cover the first guidepost. So the book that we are reviewing is Audition by the mighty Michael Shurtleff. This is the Bible of auditioning, the most popular book, I would say, on acting and auditioning. It's the one that everyone kind of goes to. And he has 12 guideposts. I mean, Michael Shurtleff is a legend, but he talks about his 12 guideposts, and that's what this book is about. And in this episode, we're going to review guidepost number 1. And what I did is, for each guidepost, I'm going to try and summarize it into one like sentence / like bullet point, okay? So here is the first guidepost. Relationship. Mm-hmm. Are you in a relationship, Tim?
Yes.
What's her name? I'm just kidding. Don't say that on there. Are you crazy, man? What's wrong with you? That's right. So here's how I summarize this entire chapter. Facts versus relationship. Because in essence, what this chapter talks about is the trap that all actors fall into is they mistake facts about the scene for the relationship in the scene. So here's the first quote. Start with the question. What is my relationship to the other actor in the scene I'm about to do? Facts are never enough, although they will help you at the beginning. So here's the thing. He basically talks about this when he says, so who are you? What's your relationship? Most actors will say something like, well, I'm a doctor and she's my patient. Those are facts. Mm-hmm. Those have nothing to do with anything.
Right.
In fact, those don't really help you because the underlying relationship could be between a doctor and a patient, could be between two human beings, could be between a man and a woman. And all of those could be a doctor and patient. So the trap all actors fall into is they talk about facts. They talk about like the surface area. Oh, we're married. This is my wife and I don't like her. Okay, well, so what? What's the underlying core there? Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So for example, how do you feel about the person you're in a relationship with?
Well, obviously very positive. I mean, otherwise I wouldn't be
Really, though? Is it obviously very positive? Is it positive 100% of the time?
Well, no, but nobody is.
Exactly. So to say I'm in a happy relationship, and that's what the scene is about two people in a happy relationship finding more happiness, or two people in a bad relationship trying to break it off, is not actually helping. It's just a surface level fact.
Cool.
That's the point of relationship. Here's some questions that I thought, really alluded to. So, do you hate him? Do you hate her? In your relationship, there's probably moments where you're like, just fucking leave me alone. Right?
Yeah.
You can't see this, but Tim is smiling and laughing and nodding yes, indeed. Listener in his relationship with him. Shh. Do you resent them? How much? Because that's another thing. Maybe I'm annoyed, but how much am I annoyed? Because I've been in relationships where I'm really annoyed by the person, but I still really want them to hang out with me, versus being annoyed by a person and I know the relationship's over. Those are two different scenes.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you want to help them? That's a big one for me. Because I feel like you can identify relationships two parts. Do you want to help? Like, for example, do you want to save? Do you want to help this person? If I'm in a relationship where I really just want this person to leave me alone, I don't want to help them with anything. If they start talking to me about their problems, I'm like, fuck. Versus do you want to help them because you actually want them to come back?
Right.
What do you want them to give you? That's another great question. So facts are not important. It's not important if you're right or wrong. It's another thing, which I thought was really interesting. And this is what he's alluding to. It may not tell you, like the facts may not tell you whether the other character is your brother or your husband. Sorry, the relationship may not tell you whether they're your brother or your husband. That's not important, even though you must make a choice. So a lot of times actors will say things like, well, what if I pick the wrong relationship? What if I play it like I really love her and they want it like I hate her? Every single casting director ever in the world, every single producer, every single director will say that is secondary to actors who make a strong choice.
Yes.
And I'm saying this directly to the camera because if you're watching this, being right or being wrong, according to Michael Shurtleff and to me and to Tim in his relationship, is secondary to a strong choice. Because we talked about it in the last episode, sometimes you'll make a choice and be like, that was really great. It's not what we're looking for. But what they'll probably do is like, can we try it like this?
Right.
That is why the fact of a relationship is of no value to the actor unless it leads him to explore the feelings in the relationship now. And that's a big thing. I actually underlined. He actually italicizes now because here's the other thing. This is what your relationship, you're generally happy, but in the moment you might be annoyed. In the moment you might not. You might be really content, but not always. So when they talk about relationship, it's not. This is the other difference between fact and relationship. Fact is like, oh, I'm really in love with her, but are you in this very moment? Mm-hmm. Are you thinking about love in this very moment, or are you thinking about just getting to the movie theater on time? The now is the next kind of level to relationship. And then basically the rest of the chapter is just examples. And then literally he does a dialogue between himself and actors where he kind of explores. And he gives a bunch of examples here. And I'm going to just highlight a few things he says. So number one, the playwright does not provide the words for the actress to know this because the character never says, I am still attracted to you, even though I want to be free of you. So what he's talking about is this. There's a play, The Middle of the Night, by Patty Chayefsky. We have to remember this book was written like the early 80s, I think.
Right.
Maybe the mid 80s. So he references a lot of plays that we might have seen on Broadway in like the 70s. But here's the whole premise of the play. And this is relationship. One of his meaty examples of relationship. A woman is in a relationship married to a man who they only have a sexual relationship. Their sex is amazing, but they don't connect on any level. Mm-hmm. She meets another man that's old enough to be her father, that she truly connects with.
Right. And
she's going to leave her husband for this old man. Now, most actors would play facts. Oh, I want to break off this relationship. But the now of the relationship is when this man walks in, this one that doesn't fulfill her emotionally, but just makes her come so hard, for example, mm-hmm. has to play in that moment there. I want to leave you, but when you come in, all I want you to do is like take my clothes off.
Right.
That is a relationship.
Yeah.
Versus a relationship where the woman is, I'm unsatisfied, I'm going to leave. And then, of course, Michael Shurtleff always talks, okay, so leave. Why are you even waiting there?
Right.
I'm in an unhappy marriage. That is a fact. I'm in an unhappy marriage, but I'm still really attracted to the person. I've been in relationships where I've really hated the person or I've not connected with someone, but the sex was so awesome.
Yeah.
And vice versa. Mm-hmm. The greatest love of my life, Timothy, we had the worst sex. And we barely did it.
Yeah.
To the point where we decided to have an open relationship because we connected so much. I'm like, we should just have sex with other people because obviously, I don't know what it was. To this day, still haunts. She was beautiful and everything, but it just wasn't there.
Yep.
So the playwright, and here's the reason I highlight it. The playwright isn't going to tell you these things, but I always have this little expression. I always say, why is this in the play? Why is this in the show? If it's a scene about you just breaking up with your husband, great. But why did the playwright need to put this in specifically? Why this very moment? It's not, so that I can leave, because they wouldn't put that in. It's so that they can show you something about relationship. A scene about you packing is different depending on the relationship of who's coming to pick you up to go to the airport, mm-hmm. or the thing you're going to. In the scene from the middle of the night, that's the play we're talking, explains why I say every scene is a love scene. And that's the last part that he kind of gets into about relationship. Every scene is a love scene. The actor should ask the question, where's the love? of every scene, or he or she won't find the deepest emotional content. This doesn't mean that every scene is like Romeo and Juliet, oh baby, I love you, but there has to be love in a scene. Every scene is about love. And the second he said that, I thought about an audition for Flash, where this other amazing actor got the part, and I'm just flattered. It was for like a recurring character, kind of like a main villain character for a couple of episodes. And the whole scene was a fight scene where it was Arrow. And the whole scene was a fight scene where Arrow gets beat up by my character. And I thought, well, where would the love be in that, Tim? But seriously, I know it's funny, but seriously, if we believe Michael Shurtleff and we say that every scene is about love, I am doing this for some kind of love. Is it love of, for example, this is where my mind went. I need to beat up this Arrow because I need to save this city, because I love this city.
All right.
Maybe my view is going, and the only way that I can save the city is if I'm in utter control of it. That is my love to my people. If you watch the movie Gladiator, was that his name? Joaquin Phoenix?
Yeah.
Has this whole little part where after he becomes emperor and he's talking to the Senate, he talks about love. I will rule by love, by showing my people why I must love them, why they must love me. That has nothing to do with a relationship, like the physical, I'm in love with you, you're in love with me, we're going to get married. It's love for something that drives an underlining character.
Yes.
So I thought about an Arrow. I'm actually going to be doing some voice work for a video game. And in it, I thought about this. Because literally it's things like, it's a fight scene where there's a bunch of gorillas maybe fighting off an army. Where's the love there? The love for your country. Maybe there's a wife and a child that you are fighting for.
Okay.
And thinking that way will give you, according to Michael Shurtleff, and I fully agree, a deeper character. And that is where love comes in.
I guess if you think hard enough, you're going to find that love wherever you have to find it, right?
Yes, and if you do, it gives a character another, because all of a sudden you're not a bad person. There's some great villains, and I'm trying to think of them, but I've watched movies where like this person is horribly evil, but then they have that one person that they're super tender around. That gives the character dimension. Yeah. I highlighted one more little quote here. Until you expand your concept of what love is to include the various peculiar and perverse forms it can take in human relationships, you're going to have a hard time as an actor finding emotional commitment to scenes. And that's the beautiful thing. Here's something as actors, a little tip to explore. The next time you have to do an audition, find a benevolent love and then find a perverse love.
Explain to me the difference.
A benevolent love is romantic comedy, you know what I mean? I'm gonna jump over the street, the turnstile, because I need to get on the subway to see you, because otherwise I'll never see you again. A perverse love is when, I'm trying to think, like when you watch these movies and like the Joker, for example, the perverse love he has for this woman. Spoiler alert! Have you seen it?
Yes.
The perverse love he has for that woman that you find out is fake.
Right.
And you just think to yourself, oh, if only it was real, that might have saved this character.
Yes. Yep. Very good point. Okay.
But it's this weird perverse love that actually freaks the other person out and pushes them away.
Mm-hmm.
And there's lots of movies like that where you think like, oh, if only they would just give him a chance, then none of the other thing would have happened, and it frustrates you, and you don't know how you would react. I have a perverse love, the great love of my life, also broke my heart, and I saw her yesterday, and we had a little chat.
Oh,
blah, blah. Yeah, and I loathe her, but at the same time, and I'm gonna be very real with you, I sort of want to I still fantasize about hate fucking her. And I know but I'm being very real with you right now. I know that sounds brutal, but I'm being very real with you. And I think you can empathize with that.
Oh,
I think everybody listening to me can empathize with that. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I hate her. I still want to hate fuck. And I'm upset that she's not trying harder to be my friend. These are all perverse forms of love.
Yeah. But they're really good things to draw on.
Yeah. And here's the last quote that I'm going to end on. An actor cannot act without creating a relationship with that other person who's on stage with them. And I've done this. As you know, we are both members of a meetup group, The Actors Place, theactorsplace.org. And when people come up and you say, so what's going on in the scene? What's the relationship? They'll always do, they'll usually talk about the other person. Well, they're coming in here and they're trying to convince me to do blah, 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 blah. And it's never from their perspective. It's always like they're trying to get the other person to do something. What is your relationship towards the other person? I always throw that in, but how do you feel about them? How do you feel about the fact of what they're trying to do? That is the core to relationship. Facts is a good place to start, but it's not the place you find a good character, and it's not the place you make a good audition. Getting to the underlying relationship, how do you feel about the other person? And then, where's the love? Those 2 tips, and that, my friends, is the end of the episode. Guidepost number 1 by Michael Shurtleff. Audition, the 12 guideposts, relationship. Thank you so much. Don't forget that this podcast, The Lazy Actor, is a co-production between The Actors Place, theactorsplace.org, and
RadioRadio.com.
We will see you next time where we'll be discussing guidepost number 2 from Michael Shurtleff, Audition, conflict. Bye-bye, everybody.